Hey guys, welcome to a brand new series. This is one that I'm really excited about because it means that hopefully I can cook with a lot of you every Wednesday. So every Wednesday morning I'm going to release one of these cook live videos that you guys can watch. I'm going to answer all of your questions so that you can get organized and cook something really easy but really beautifully delicious tonight for dinner. Because you know that thing where you're like, I don't know what I'm cooking tonight, it's Wednesday, it's halfway through the week, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I'll just make the decision for you. And then you could come back and replay the video if you like in the evening while you're making your dinner. So there you go. That chicken looks juicy. What are we doing today? Okay, so I decided one of the things that I think happens to me, even me, like during the week, is that I get a little bit lazy and I don't, experiment a lot with flavors in the evening sometimes because I just want to get dinner done, you know what I mean? So this week we're going to do a bit of a theme, and I've chosen Indian spices for my theme. So we're going to go out there, we're going to make a really awesome one pot beautifully spiced chicken, like a sort of a tray bake roast chicken scenario. And then I'm also going to make some potatoes just on the stovetop while that chicken is baking in the oven. So there you go. That's what we're doing. Let's do it. Okay, so first of all, I am going to get some spices together. Now I want some of these guys over here. Now these are typically the main sort of Indian spices that I would keep in my cupboard because garam masala, one, is great. It's a spice blend already, so you don't have to keep, 5 or 6 of these spices like coriander, cumin, cardamom. This is really testing me out now what all the garam masala spices are. They can differ. So garam masala is just literally a blend. But typically there's those sorts of things in there. Black pepper as well can be in there. But anyway, it means you don't have to keep all of those spices. You've just got a cheats blend there. So I'm going to do some garam masala and some turmeric. Now turmeric's really great because the turmeric is going to kind of like jazz up the color of our chicken. It's going to make it lovely and golden. And then here I like to keep this guy in my cupboard. This is Kashmiri chili powder. Now the cool thing about the Kashmiri chili powder is that it's quite mild, but it has a really lovely bright red color. So you get a really nice color and not too much heat. Now, if you're worried about the heat, what you can do is actually use a little bit of sweet paprika instead. So I've got some of that here, yeah. So you can see sweet paprika almost exactly, so pretty much spot on, same color, but has like 0 heat. So if you're cooking this for kiddies, then you could just do the sweet paprika and not the chili powder. I'm gonna put some of the sweet paprika in here as well, just because I can. Extra color is always nice. Okay, a little bit of salt in here. And give this a mix. It already looks so nice. All right. Okay, so I'm going to use this spice blend for 2 different treatments here. I'm going to use it as a marinade for my chicken and also as a bit of a kind of spice blend for my vegetables. So what are the vegetables I'm using? Let's have a look. Some tomatoes, some yogurt. Okay, so one of the reasons I really like this kind of recipe is that I'm always trying to add more veg into what I'm eating on a weeknight, just so I can feel a little bit more virtuous, but also use up the vegetables in the bottom of my crisper. So, anything would do here. Broccoli, zucchini, eggplant, that would all be really great. So, just got my capsicum here though. And I want some nice little chunks here because I want everything to cook really quickly. Well, as quickly as possible, so. Some cherry tomatoes. I really like using cherry tomatoes here because they kind of like blister and some of their juices kind of seep out into the bottom of the baking dish, so you get a nice, almost like a little sauce. Okay, so with the cauliflower, I probably don't need the whole of this guy. Let me just take these leaves off. Now, one of the things that I think is really important about weeknight cooking is having minimal mess to clean up. It is something I think to think about when you're looking at recipes. So the reason I'm mentioning that is that if you just kind of like slice into your cauliflower, like just through the stem, but then you actually just break through the florets, it means that you don't get that fluffy mess everywhere on your chopping board. You know what I mean? You know that mess that just goes everywhere. Like when my husband Tim cooks something in the kitchen and there's just stuff everywhere. I'm not complaining, it's great when someone else cooks dinner. It's just the mess is Huge. I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about. Do you have a messy cooker in your family? I'm sure you do. There's always one. Okay, so just keep going with your cauliflower here. Again, you want small florets so that you get a nice, lovely, even cook on everything. Okay, so that's our vegetables done. Now, what I'm going to do here is grab some of our spice mix and load up these vegetables with a little bit of that, and then a little bit of oil. Let's give that a mix. Just a little bit more salt here. And I like doing the vegetables separate to the chicken because it means you really get those spices right in there. Everything gets a little bit of love and then everything tastes better. So the oil I've used here is just a regular vegetable oil. I often use just vegetable oil for my cooking because it has a neutral flavor. But if you do have olive oil, you can totally use that here as well if you would like. Okay, so let's do our chicken. Now, I've got chicken thighs because you guys know me and I am a legs and thighs girl. I really need to get that t-shirt made, don't I? So I can just like point to it and I don't have to say it. Thighs. I'm doing boneless thighs because they're going to cook really quickly. Just pop them into my bowl here. You could actually do chicken breast here if you would like. Because it's a quick cook, they shouldn't dry out too much. So if your family is a chicken breast kind of family, that's cool. The rest of our spices, they're going to go in. And some yogurt. So the yogurt just kind of adds a little bit more of like a sour kind of flavor, which is great. Helps to tenderize the chicken. Just gives us another element here to our marinade. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, I'm just going to put the heat on for my potatoes for later. Okay, so this is looking pretty good now. Now I like to leave my chicken pieces whole purely because I don't want to have to do too much chopping. I think that on a weeknight, the less chopping you can do, the better, particularly when it's like meat and you've got to clean the board and everything's a bit messy. So it's great to just have whole pieces of chicken here. Because they are boneless and small chicken thighs, they should cook quickly, sort of around the same time as my vegetables. So that all works very nicely. All right, so I'm going to get some oil into my pan here. Again, I'm just using regular vegetable oil. The idea here is that I'm just trying to give the chicken like a bit of a head start. Like I find that like oven roasting sometimes you don't get that really lovely like hard sear on your protein unless you're roasting for a long time, which I don't want to be because it's Wednesday, I'm hungry, I need to get these done. And it already smells like yum and spicy and lovely. Let's see if I can squish one more in there. So make sure you've got your oven turned on at this point, 180 Celsius, have that preheating ready to go. So typically what you should do, like before you even start cooking, get the water boiling, although I forgot, but you get your water boiling, get your oven on, preheating, and that way you're kind of sort of preparing everything while you're waiting for those things to happen, which always helps. Now I'm just waiting till I get some sort of good color here, both on the bottom of my pan and on my chicken. All right, so I'm just going to turn these over now that I've got some colour here. I love that golden colour that you get from the turmeric, so nice. Don't worry about the slightly charred edges. I'm going to deglaze the pan with a little bit of water later, and like all of that kind of charry, you know, lovely golden brown stuff we're getting on the bottom, that's actually a lot of really good flavour there. So it's going to help us with our sauce. So can you get some of this colour through here if you can? That's that brown stuff I was talking about.
The fond?
Yes, the fond. There you go. Josh, the new guy. Okay, so the chicken's starting to look good, and what I was looking for here is the colour I was talking about, or as Josh mentioned, the fond, the bottom of the pan. Josh is our new Dax today. Dax is unfortunately ill today. Sorry, Dax, if you're watching at home. But anyway, so the fond that I was getting to, or this brown stuff at the bottom of the pan, this is all really good flavour. So I'm going to get in here with a little bit of water and just try and lift some of it off. So just pour that in, particularly around the sides where we've got quite a bit of colour there. Okay, I want to let that kind of bubble away at just a little. Okay, so vegetables. Now, I'm just going to kind of like scatter these around the place. Don't want to overcrowd things too much. because I want to make sure that everything kind of gets the chance to get a lot of heat and sort of roasty, toasty business happening. Now I'm just going to lift up some of this chicken. All right, so we're partway done with the cooking now. Now I'm going to throw this into the oven and literally just like forget about it for about 25 minutes or so. All right, so your chicken should be in the oven right about now, and we're going to do some potatoes. So these potatoes are optional. If you wanted to keep things really simple, you could just do a steamed rice, even a microwave rice on the side. I mean, I can't technically condone microwave rice because like my Asian ancestors would come and like slap me. So, but you could just do that if you want to. But I'm going to do these potatoes in case you want to do something while your chicken is cooking in the oven. And grab some sweet potatoes, some onion. And it's kind of like, sort of like a Bombay potato-ish recipe, but I'm going to do some sweet potatoes. I feel like sweet potatoes also give me a little bit more of a virtuous feeling than white potatoes. So I'm just going to go with that. Are sweet potatoes healthier than white potatoes? I don't know. I feel like you feel like they're healthier. It's all about perception. Yeah, it's the colour, isn't it? It's a happy colour. You go with whatever potatoes you like. Now again, why don't you guys say hello, tell me where you're watching from. I love to hear about that. What are you cooking tonight? Some of you might already be cooking dinner or have had dinner. So what did you have? I would love to know. Better yet, post me a pic. Love seeing your dinners. Now once again, I'm going to be doing this every Wednesday morning my time, which could be a different time where you are. But anyway, around about Wednesdays, I'm going to be here cooking with you guys, deciding what you're going to eat for dinner. So come back again. Now again, the aim of the game is to get things done quickly here. So I'm going to cut these into fairly small chunks. Anyone has any questions so far, please do ask them in the comments, because I'm going to be here answering your questions.
How many people would you potato serve? So it's 2 sweet potatoes.
8 pieces of chicken, yeah. So I think with around about like 2 sweet potatoes here, and with the amount of chicken that we've got, we would definitely be like a 4-person dinner. If you were a 2-person, this would be great the next day. I find that with these kinds of spice-heavy dishes, whether it's Indian spices or a Thai curry or something like that, it's always better the next day. So it's no problem to have leftovers, which is nice. All right, so all of my potato pieces go into my water. So the potato will need a few minutes here. So I'm going to get on to making like a little oniony spice mix here. So I just want some finely sliced onion. So just some fine slices here. Now grab some oil and into a nice hot pan. I want a fair amount of oil here. I find like the potatoes tend to kind of like soak up some of that oil at the end. So a fair bit of oil. And my onion. I just find a second like the onion hits the hot oil and you get that smell. It's like, oh, I'm hungry. It always makes me hungry. Now, always, I like to put some salt in with my onion, because the idea here is to get the onion kind of breaking down and getting a little bit sweet and brown. And the salt helps to draw out the moisture from the onion. So that helps things to brown and sweeten up a lot quicker. I also think it's a really good idea to be seasoning as you go. So adding salt at different stages, like adding salt into the spice mix that we made for the vegetables, and adding salt when you're doing the onions, so that you're kind of like layering up that seasoning situation. I'm just going to let these onions do their thing for a little bit. You could use red onion here if you wanted to as well. All right, I'm going to go in with some spices now. So I have some mustard seeds and some turmeric and some garam masala. So it's nice to kind of double up and use these spices. Oh, that's a bit more garam masala than I wanted to add, but you know, we'll just go with it. That's what happens on a Wednesday night. Okay, keep mixing here, but as I was saying, so I always like to double up on the spices. You get like a nice kind of hit from the garam masala in the chicken and then also in the potatoes. And it means you're kind of using up the spices that you've got in your cupboard. Nothing worse than having spices sit around getting all musty, and sort of as they get older, the flavour and the aroma really starts to disintegrate. So use those guys up. Now I'm just even going to add a little bit more oil here because my onions and spices have really soaked everything up here. Now while this is all happening here, I'm going to grab some mint from the fridge. So this is a very good way to keep your herbs really nice in the fridge. Just some paper towel, it's a little bit damp, and it kind of protects the herbs in there, keeps them nice and moist and really lovely and fresh. So you'll get more, I find if you look after your herbs, you just get more bang for your buck because they don't, you know, sort of go wilty in the fridge as quickly. So I'm basically just picking some of these mint leaves. These are going to go on top of my chicken when that's ready. You could also use the devil herb here, coriander. I love coriander, but a lot of you guys don't, so that's okay. You could just use mint instead, like I'm using. Right, so can you hear that popping stuff happening, that popping business? That's our mustard seeds in here, which are telling me that they are good to go. So I'm just going to turn that heat off and just let that sit while I'm waiting for my potatoes. Okay, so my potatoes are nearly done, my chicken's nearly done. Let's just bring everything together. I'm going to turn the heat back on under my onions, and I'm actually going to add some baby spinach. So this is just an optional extra. As I said, during the week, I love to try and get in as much vegetable as I can. So I'm going to pop that in. And now my sweet potato. Now if it's dinner time and you are cooking along, I hope that you're up to the same stage as me. And if it is dinner time, I hope that you are having a glass of red wine. Okay, so let's just toss all of this together. And I don't mind if the potato breaks up a little bit here. That's cool. That smells really good. I'm just going to add a little bit more salt in here. And just a little bit more oil, I think. I like my potatoes to have a little bit of a sheen to them. As I said, they kind of like soak up that oil a little. So just give that a little drizzle. All right, potatoes are done. Let's have a look at our chicken. Very exciting. All right, so I think that is looking really delightful. I love that you can create so much color and flavor and all the things very easily on a Wednesday night. So here we go with this. Just a final few little, bits and pieces here. I'm gonna add just a few little dollops of yogurt. So I think it makes it look extra nice, and then adds a little bit of extra flavor at the end. And then just scatter over some mint leaves. You can just sort of like tear them up a little. All right, let's get our potatoes out. So there you go. So if you guys have come back and you have cooked this, I hope yours looks like this, because I'm really pleased. We have our beautiful chicken, and if you have a look in here, you can see we've got this really lovely sauce here in the bottom of our pan, which, you've made a sauce, you haven't had to do anything extra. You've got your chicken, vegetables and potatoes, so it's all good. Should we eat some? Let's try some. I'm gonna make sure I did a good job for you. A little bit of potato. Now make sure guys, if you loved today's episode, I hope you did, I loved cooking it for you, please do come back next week. I'd love to see you here, and I'd love to see your creation. So maybe next week you can post me a photo of the dinner you made tonight. That would be really fun. Okay, some chicken. Oh, that chicken looks juicy. Yeah, that's nice, perfectly cooked. Some potato. It's so good. There's so many different layers of flavors there and spices, and so it's kind of like a really lovely, warm and comforting Wednesday night dinner. I love it. All the vegetables too. This is really good. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Are you eating right now? That would be nice. Thanks guys. I hope to see you next week when we cook another Wednesday dinner together. Bye. Yum.